58 years old, and a third of my life, you've gone.
Hey, have you heard the one about the dwarves and the giant cave toads?
Oh, that's funny! It's so great when everyone gets along.
Yes, I want more. Is that so bad?
Hey, you've heard that in the late spring of 107, that cyclops was struck down in Nokotarat. It is terrifying.
It is terrifying. I was thinking of heading up that way, now that it's all settled. Sounds like a good farm.
Oh hey, my cousin went up that way a few weeks back. Bunch of dwarfs have.
If only I had some way to get a new lease on life. A fresh start.
Hey, that sounds like a great way to get a new lease on life. Or a fresh start.
Sounds like a dwarf could really start living out there.
Idrath, please, grant me the wealth of knowledge. Please tell me my course.
I have heard the road to get there is sort of terrible though.
Oh yeah. Weeks of travel.
Hey, some idiot should just build a bridge across the sea. Make it easier to get there.
Huh?
Well, hello, you bearded bastards, and let me welcome you to a brand new fortress just now being settled by a small group of dwarves. You can see them down there, just on the coast. Their hearts are full of dreams, and their minds are filled with ambitious ideas. They call themselves Lymarlotol, the Wealthy Order, worshippers of Idrath Lymarastrath, god of wealth, and their fortress here is going to reflect that. It's a fortress they've dubbed Irath Kor Irol Sazir, or Treasure Cavern, the Northbridge. Now, we're just going to give them a second to unwind and unpack their items, and as they do that, we're going to go over our plans real quick. Having a look at the map, our homeland is over here, in this wide mountain range. And our fortress, Treasure Cavern, is a little bit off the beaten path, right up this way here, in the northern pine forests. Now, zooming in a bit, you can see here that there's a span of water in between these two continents. Over on the west, we have our home continent, the Sizzling Land. That's where the dwarves are right now. And across the water there is the continent of Stabilizing. Both sides are heavily forested. Our plan here with this fortress is to link the two continents so that we can create a passage north. It's an ambitious idea, but frankly it's a little surprising that nobody's done it before. A passage north would be very handy, especially since we have a new outpost up that way somewhere. This will just make things a little bit easier for our people, and other travelers too maybe. That there is goal number 1, build a bridge. Goal number 2 is to make a successful trading outpost. We figure there's going to be a lot of travelers coming up this way. People want to check out the bridge, maybe head north. This would be an excellent opportunity to make ourselves into a little bit of a hub. We can expect to see all kinds of trade, a crew, a lot of wealth. And that being said, brings us to our third point of being here. To act as a beacon in honor of Idrath, our god, the god of wealth. I think it's all going to work pretty well. Now then, that being said, well, we've got some ideas cooking here. And having a look at the dwarves, well, it looks like they are getting just about settled down there. And I'm thinking maybe it's time to start getting to work. What do you say, dwarves? That's enough loafing around. We have a lot to do. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is get over here and start digging down. Just into this soil right here. What we want to do before anything else is make a temporary fortress. Just bang it out as fast as we can. Right now it's the 5th of Granite, 108. And it's rainy outside. The dwarves don't want to be out in that. It's miserable. And so that's why we're doing this so quick. Just want to get in out of the rain. Plus it'd be nice to have a meeting hall and stuff too, of course. You can see we've already planned out a bunch of bedrooms, that's what the small 2x2 rooms are, as well as an area for a trade depot. I think it'd be nice if we got the wagons to go down underground. And then also we're going to have a meeting hall and just a big general storage and crafting area too. And after we get this dug out and furnished, we're going to start digging down for stone. Actually, we maybe do that just as soon as this is carved out. Start digging down immediately, you know? Build up a stock of stone. Idrath knows we're going to need a lot of stone for that bridge. And while the miners finish up carving out our sandy home, we're going to be over here making some wooden furniture. Just a temporary thing. We want stone furniture, of course. Or I suppose silver and gold furniture would be the best, but we'll give it some time. For now, wood will suffice. Our expedition leader Vabok just happened to be strolling through the forest here and noted a fox scurrying through the area. I wonder if that would be a worthwhile export. We should probably start cataloging all the animals we see in the area, maybe also get some cage traps set up out in the woods. It'd be worthwhile to take advantage of the gifts given to us. We're looking to get rich here, dwarves, in any way we can, in service to Idrath, of course. Looking down here, we have a crab, a rather large crab. Noted. Might be able to do something with that too. Okay. Speaking of valuables, reports indicate that on this side of the water, we can expect to find a whole slew of resources. Of course, there's the trees, but also plants in the forest. And underground, we can expect to find iron, gold, silver, copper, nickel, zinc, platinum, tin, lead, and flux stone, which means we can make steel here. Everything a dwarf could desire, really. Then of course we have the water itself, hopefully a lot of fish in there. At this particular juncture, all avenues are open to us. We're going to have a lot of stuff to trade and a lot of people to trade it with too. We haven't touched on our neighbors, but we can expect to see the elves. They're about 2 days away, and the humans, who are only about a half day away. I would like to think both would start trading here within a year or so, and hopefully we're well set up by then. Both would trade and defenses because, well, as far as neighbors go, we also have the goblins, who are about a day's travel away. I'm hoping they don't give us trouble too early, but we shall see, I suppose. We're willing to put the work in, and I'm hoping Idrath seeks to protect her future investment. Okay, having a look inside our temporary, very sandy fortress, it's coming right along. In fact, it seems to be entirely carved out now. Just getting some furniture in place now, and also getting some items stored away inside. And now if you have a look down here, to the south end of the fortress, you can see a stairway that leads down. And if we have a gander down that way, well, you can see we've already started mining out some stone. And we have a pretty decent amount, a lot of brown stone, clay stone to be precise. And I think that's what we're going to end up making the bridge out of. Yeah, we're getting a few levels of this stone dug out, and then we should have enough to get started working at least. Yes, we are well on our way. And Vabok, our chosen expedition leader, could not be happier. Now, I will note that all 7 of these dwarves put this expedition together, but he was the one chosen to lead them. The guy's a proficient appraiser, and so he knows a good deal when he sees one. While all the other dwarves are working, he's kind of the one behind the scenes, making sure everything's going smoothly. That being said, we're hoping he doesn't get too out of hand with some of his traits. We're kind of trying to create a cosmopolitan hub of a variety here. But Vabok himself doesn't really like other people, either their ways or their appearance. That goes for goblins, elves, humans, hell, dwarves too, if they're from other places. He's a super cynical fellow. He's got a great feel for social relationships, and with the goal of this fortress being to get a lot of wealth from people, I get a feeling that he's going to put on an expertly crafted mask in order to try to ingratiate himself to our visitors. Oh, Vabok, surely a stubborn dwarf set in his ways, but I'm hoping he leads us well, to riches and glory in the eyes of Idrath. We're counting on you, Vabok. Now then, having a look at our fortress to see how far we're coming along. Our dwarves all now have bedrooms. Not great bedrooms, but bedrooms nonetheless. We have our item stockpile over this way here. Spacious, mostly unused. We do of course have our meeting hall here with a bunch of seeds sitting around. Unused seeds. And I see we have Vabok here talking with Aiton, our farmer. Well, we brought with us originally a whole bunch of different kinds of plants, hoping that we could use the seeds and just kind of like plant them here up on the surface. But apparently none of the plants that we brought can actually grow in this region, which is extremely unfortunate. Well, it's going to be fine. Maybe we should do some gathering for the time being, though. There is a bunch of plants out in the forest. Radishes, celery, broad beans. Yeah, we'll find something to plant. No worries. But that's all boring stuff. If we have a look down here on our claystone mines, you can see a bunch of stoneworker workshops, all pumping out claystone blocks. We have quite a few now, and I suppose we can start planning our bridge. Let's get to it. Well, I'm having a look at the water. It's a long way across, and we want a big bridge. No piddly little thing. That's gonna make it tough, but glorious. Having a look over at our side, we do have this very short peninsula. I think maybe we should start building off of that. Might be the best place, near to where the stone blocks are being made. Yeah, that'll work out pretty good, I think. But I am thinking now that maybe we should wait till we have some more dwarves around. We only have the 7 right now. Maybe we'll just focus on making stone blocks for now, so that when we do get a migrant wave, they can all be put to work immediately, and have a bunch of blocks to work with. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Oh, hold up a second here. We just started broadening our mining operations, and seemingly stumbled into the first cavern layer. It was adjacent to the tunnel leading down to our claystone mines, and we're now exposed to it, which means all sorts of creatures could run into our fortress. We're gonna have to get right to work making some cage traps. I said we were gonna do that before, but now it's a pretty big concern. We need some way to defend ourselves. Having a little look out there though, there are a lot of things that we could use. Hematite, magnetite, bunch of iron there. Also some gems and some platinum too. Okay, that's not bad. What I am worried about are things like this troglodyte here. A savage, man-like cave creature. Very primitive. I'm not sure it can reach us right now, and I'm hoping it just kind of stays away. And of course it's not. Oh my goodness. It's running straight to the fortress. I'm hoping it just takes a peek in our fortress and then decides it doesn't want anything to do with our dwarves. And yeah, that kind of appears to be what is happening. It smelled fresh air for the first time in its entire life. It saw the sun for the first time too. It went screaming off into the wilds. Never to be seen again, hopefully. We can hope that all such cavern encounters end exactly that same way. But still, we're going to get right to work on those cage traps. Now then, having a little look around, I'd say the fortress is doing pretty darn well for itself. Right now, it's the 26th of Hematite, early summer of 108. And that means that autumn is just around the corner, which means the traders are going to be here. And we have not been diligently producing anything to trade, which is sort of shameful. That being said, it's not entirely unexpected for a first-year dwarven fortress, and so we just figured we'd start off on making some easy items. Quick things, you know? Nothing too fancy. And so after consulting, Vabok has decided that we should make some ballista parts. It's one of his favorite items. And I suppose we do have a lot of wood just laying around at this point, and so we've already set about the task. We have a few made and are working on more. They'll be relatively easy to produce, I'm thinking. And then over this way here, you can see our new trade depot. That's all set now, and we did try a little bit here to get it nicened up too, just so it's not just a shabby little sandy trade depot. I know we don't have a lot to offer at the moment, but we gotta try, right? In fact, as a nice additional touch, we'll get a brand new ballista put in here too. Gonna take some of the parts that we're making to trade, but it'll be worth it. A little showcase of our talents, right? We'll bring those other ballista parts in and put them in a stockpile up here too. Easy access. Of course, we have thought of something else to trade too. If you have a look down here in the claystone mines, you can see our smelting area. We have a metalsmith's forge, a smelter, and a wood burner down here. And we've been melting down some of that platinum into bars. And with those bars, we have Kubuk busy at work making some nice coins. Maybe we can make some other platinum goodies too. Could there be a better showcase of our future prosperity? I think not. But before we get to that, how about we have a look at these coins? Just out of curiosity. We have a stack here of 500 Kivish Uzal 108 platinum coins. Kivish Uzal is our civilization, the Lancer of Oiling. On the front of the coin is a rendition of the basic dies, a well-designed image of an armor stand, the symbol of our people. And on the other side is an image of a rhesus macaque man. Seems an odd choice, but I guess that's what our civilization is doing for minting this year. Interesting, okay. Yeah, we're gonna make up a few thousand of these things and hopefully get them done before the traders arrive. You know, I think we're gonna be doing pretty alright for ourselves this year. Off to a great start. And I figure while the dwarves are at work up on the surface, maybe we should take another look below ground. Out into the caves, where we can see one of our miners. This here is Sarvesh, and he's taken it upon himself to head out into the tunnels and see what we can find. At the moment, it does seem fairly quiet out there. Not seeing all too much. Just some fungus, mushroom trees. Seeing cap hoppers from time to time, of course. Tiny amphibians with long prehensile tails. They live in underground swamps and tower cap forests, typically all over the place down in the tunnels. Some dwarves like them for their swinging antics. Yes, believe it or not, they swing around with those tails of theirs. Looking like we have a cluster of troglodytes over this way here. Not too sure what they're doing, maybe 4 or 5 of them. And a couple of them seem to be climbing as well. There are 3 of them up above, just clinging to the cave wall. Just sitting there. I guess we spooked them. Well, we'll leave you to it. Moving on now. Heading through the tunnels to see what we can see. Ooh, here's something. It seems to be a cluster of highly valuable diamonds studded into this wall. That is interesting, but also noting that the wall appears to be warm, meaning that there's possibly magma behind it. We'll have to be careful here. Gotta tackle it from the top. Okay, there we go. Yep, filled with magma. Doesn't look like much else though. I suppose we could just drain the magma out though, and then we'd easily be able to get those gems, no problem. There you go. Good job, Sarvesh. giant bat. Oh, we got lucky there. Get the hell out of there, Sarvesh. Get home. Okay, that was an interesting fight. Sarvesh got an early hit in on that bat, seemingly knocked it off balance, and then he pulled a unique tactic and climbed up onto the wall, seemingly hiding until the bat flew away. I suppose he took a tip from the troglodytes there. Good thinking, Sarvesh. He was unwounded in that fight, but he did beat up that bat pretty good. Yeah, good job, buddy. Giant cave bats, by the way, are described simply as being a giant flying mammal found underground. I don't believe that description does them justice, though. They are huge, almost 4 times as big as a dwarf, and that one could have easily killed Sarvesh. You got lucky today, my friend. We'll come back for those gems later, when it's a little safer. How about? Anywho, back to the land of light above. A migrant wave has arrived. Very cool. Appears to be a small one, just a couple dwarves here. 2 of them. Moses the Mason, and Ingish, a gem cutter, both of whom we could use around here. Very interesting. Even more interesting, though, is that they don't hail from our homeland. They came from that outpost we were talking about up north. The new outpost known as Nokortarad, or Dead Body. It's in a haunted glacier. I could hardly imagine why they'd want to leave the place. Off to greener pastures, it seems. Okay, well, we're glad to have you, my friends, and we're going to put you right to work. Unfortunately, I was really hoping for our first migrant wave to be a bit bigger, but this will do, I suppose. Get to work, you two. And while they get to it, let's re-examine our world map again. Okay, so our people, the Lancer of Oiling, are down here in this mountain range. That's our ancestral home. And our fortress, Treasure Cavern, the Northbridge, is right up here. And the fortress that these two came from is way the hell up here, in the very farthest to northwestern reaches of the world. You have to cross the ice packs to get there. I don't really know what would compel dwarves to live out there, but it seems they've made a hell of a name for themselves. We've heard tell that they've killed a cyclops up there, and since then there's been dwarves clamoring to get up that way. Having a look, it appears that there's about 75 people living in that fortress now. Far more than our tiny place here. But you know, we have a lot to bring to the table too. Just gonna take some time. Anyways, now back to the fortress, where things are going rather well, I'd say. Right now it's the 10th of limestone, early autumn of 108, which means the traders are going to come anytime soon. Oh, and speaking of the devils, although it's a grim reminder of the winter hardships to come, the supply caravan from the Lancer of Oiling is a welcome sight. Their eyes are alight with the anticipation of inspecting the splendid products of our industrious crafts dwarves. We're going to take careful stock of our stores, because what these merchants have to offer might very well be the difference between a prosperous future and a slow and meaningless death. But really, I don't think we have that much to worry about. We've managed to make a whole bunch of really good things to trade, and Vabok knows how to make the best deal possible. Also, take the time to note that we've redone our trade area here. I said we were nicing it up before, but all of our floors are now wood, and we replaced those sandy walls with wood as well. Gotta do what you can with what you got. We've got our ballista in place over there, of course, and as a nice finishing touch, we also made a platinum statue of Idrath. Gonna get that put in there too. Was hoping to have it in place before they got here, but, well, it's fine. No worries. Dwarves are going to take a second to bring all our goods to the trade depot anyways. Okay, at this point, I think we have everything we need at the depot. So let's see what we can get, Vabok. Here's all of our goods, and we're just going to go for it. Trade them all. We got a bunch of nice cut gems, thanks to Ingish, our new migrant. Our coins, of course. Then some platinum crafts we had made. Those are worth a whole bunch. And then down here we have our ballista parts, which Vabok has since admitted was a bad idea to make. They're not really worth that much, but we'll throw them in anyways. Now let's see what we can get for that. Well, admittedly, they didn't really bring that much in the way of good stuff. Well, that's a damn shame. But, I suppose we could take some of this stuff, some clothing, some drinks. Always use some more bags, why not? Oh, and cloth is handy, of course. Food too, sure. Might as well. And I suppose that'll do it, except they don't have any wagons with them, just a couple animals. And with all these ballista parts, they are way overburdened. So I suppose we could take some of these anvils off of your hands. We'll take 3, how about? Okay, there we go. I think that'll pretty much do it, leaving them with a tidy profit. We'll think of it as an investment, though. We'll have more prepared for next year. Good doing business with you. Well, I think that went rather well. Certainly good enough for our first year. And yes, we're going to get right to work making some more stuff to trade next year. Or rather, some of our dwarves will anyways. Because now I think it's high time we got started on our bridge project. How's that sound? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so as we were saying before, I think we should start building it off of this little nub right here. That being said, I don't really want the floor of the bridge where we're going to be walking to be at sea level. Might be a little treacherous, especially with those waves. And so maybe we should start it back a little bit up here on the slope. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. And how's that right there? That should be big enough, right? Maybe too big? It'll be fine. It'll be worth it. It's gotta be a thing of glory, right? We don't want some little bridge, do we? Of course not. That'd be silly. Well, good luck, dwarves. They're getting right to work, as we can see. But now that we have that project well underway, I'd like to have a look down here to some fun things in the caves, where you can see that yes, we have built some cage traps. And as you can see, caught in this cage right here is a giant cave toad, a female giant cave toad. Now that is very exciting right there. Not only for the simple fact that we've caught a giant cave toad, but also because that's the second one we've caught. We have another one up here in our stockpile already, a male giant cave toad. We caught it earlier and I was holding off for it to be a little surprise, but, well, I couldn't hold back anymore now, could I? How exciting is that? Also, I should note that we have a troll in a cage as well, and a large rat too. Maybe we could do something with those, but probably not. That's fine though. What I'm most excited about by far are these toads. A giant amphibian predator found underground. The bane of many a dwarf. Now, these guys here are about the same size as a lion, or even a grizzly bear, so they're sizable, for sure. Maybe a little slower, but they are bulky, and their hides are quite valuable. Not to mention all the meat we can get from them. For now, though, we're gonna get them put down in this chamber we constructed for them. It's pretty plain, but it'll give them a nice place off to the side where they can just kind of relax. There's a couple of cage traps in there too, just in case they go wild again. We'll be able to get them in a cage again, no problem whatsoever. And while we're down here, I'd like to note this troglodyte. I'm not too sure what it's doing. It has the door open, just kind of looking down this corridor right here. We did also capture a couple of troglodytes. They're up in the stockpile too. It's probably wondering what happened to its friends. Oh, there it goes. Hey, we got them troglodytes now. Cool, maybe we could do something with them too. But that's not the only thing we have interesting down here in our mines. If you'll have a gander over this way here, you can see a little project we've been working on. What we have here is a titanic, solid platinum bell. And we can see the entire thing if we move. Well, let's move down first, right here, down to the bottom. This is underneath the actual bell. And if we move up, we can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels tall. Well, I mean, there's no bell up here. This is just where it's attached to the ceiling. This bell here was just put together to see if we could actually do it. And it does appear like we can. We'll disassemble it in time. It'd be cool, I think, to get it above ground, maybe up on the bridge itself. Now you might be saying, isn't that a giant waste of platinum? But my friends, is bringing glory to Idrath a waste? I don't think so. Plus, just imagine the looks on the traders' faces when they see it, let alone hear it. My goodness. Yeah, it's going to be quite the spectacle when we get it up on that bridge. And speaking of that bridge, let's have a look to see how that's going, and as you can see, it's coming rather well, actually. It is 7 spaces wide. Definitely wide enough for anything that might cross. An army could cross, easily. And if we zoom out a little bit, you can see how far we've come. A pretty darn good way so far. It's taken a lot of blocks, and I think we're currently out, so we're just making some more. But really, we've been here less than a year so far. This is not bad progress. Zooming out a little bit more, you can see we're approaching maybe the halfway mark. Yeah, we'll be to the other side before long. Note too that it is winter right now, and so the entire sea is frozen. Handy enough for crossing, but it's only seasonal. And who really wants to travel in the winter anyways? This bridge is going to be great for the other months. Also, take note of the fact that we are taking advantage of this frozen state of the ocean. If we have a look under the bridge, you can see we're constructing a number of supports. A bridge like this is going to need a whole lot of supports. And so yeah, we're being careful with it. This is going to be the longest part of the bridge, I think. To get all these supports done, it's also going to be the riskiest. But that's okay. Also, I've been doing some thinking about this bridge here, and it occurs to me that, like, what's the point of making all these plans with a big old bridge if we're not going to do more with it? Our dwarves are plenty industrious, and we're capable of an awful lot. I'm starting to think that maybe we should build our entire fortress on this bridge, especially considering that the ocean does freeze. Gives us a lot more options to work with. We could do some pretty interesting things, maybe even some underwater structures. That would be something, wouldn't it? I guess we'll worry about actually finishing the skeleton of the bridge first, and then we'll start building off of it. This is going to be a very interesting project, that's for sure. But we have to take a peek inside real quick. Just heard a call if there's something going on. And if we have a look here, we could see Minka, one of our new dwarves. We received another migrant wave, actually. Another small migrant wave of dwarves from Nokortorad. Not too terribly impressive, but hell, we'll take it. Anywho, Minka here is a blacksmith, and she's in a bit of a strange mood at the moment, which means she's taken it upon herself to create a particularly interesting item, something made of metal. Now, as far as metal goes, we have access to iron and platinum currently, and I think a platinum item would be the best idea. So we've forbidden all of our iron, and we're gonna whip up some platinum real quick, because we're fresh out. Oh yes, intrepid Sarvesh is heading back out to the tunnels. Good luck this time, my friend. Try to be careful. I would like to avoid any more giant bat encounters. You look to be going at it with confidence, though. There's a dwarf. You know, I'm just thinking to myself here. We had Sarvesh carve away the top of that little magma gem cluster thing, right? But there was, like, hot magma inside. I don't really know how it stayed hot, but I wonder if we could benefit from that. What if we just built a magma forge right on top of it? That way we wouldn't need any fuel. Food for thought. Anywho, having a look over here now, we can see Logum grabbing some platinum nuggets that were just carved away. Gotta head over to the smelter and turn them into bars. Logum here is a new dwarf that just came in that migrant wave. And something very handy is that Logum is a legendary weaponsmith. Not too sure what his deal is exactly, but he did come from Nokortrad too, just like everyone else so far. I don't think he lived there long though, like most of those dwarves. Maybe they were a bit underwhelmed, I'm not too sure. Anyways, Logum here just put together a full suit of armor for us. We're starting to put some thought into defenses. We've almost been here a year so far, and we can expect to see trouble at some point soon, but one thing at a time, I suppose. There we go, those ingots were just made and Minkot grabbed them, and is now hard at work at an artifact. Excellent. That's all she needs too. Very eager to see what she comes out with. Just have to give her a moment. And there we have it. Truly it is a glorious day to be a dwarf. Minkot Imkethrigoth, the blacksmith, has created Tadshedim, a platinum door. She offers it to the wealthy order. That is phenomenal. We thank you so much for this gift, Minkot. We'll be certain to find it a suitable home, somewhere properly glorious. But where? That is the question. On the bridge, obviously, but we'll have to put some thought into it. Thank you very much, Minkot. But yes, we should definitely have a closer look at Tadshedim. Its name translates to matched shadow. Worth about 8,000, not terrible. It's a platinum door. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is encircled with bands of platinum, and on the item is an image of a finger millet plant in pink tourmaline. That's interesting. She must be a fan of finger millet. But yes, thank you once again, Minkot, and we will find a place for it in time. But for now, we actually have a bit of a problem up in the fortress. Time has been cranking on by, and apparently we received another migrant wave. And this one was substantially bigger than the last couple. In fact, it doubled our population. Right now, we're at 26 dwarves, which caught us a bit off guard. We don't have places for everyone right at the moment, but we're getting right to work on that. Actually, if you have a look down here, we are carving out a new place below ground. A little bit more comfortable than the sandy rooms up top. Carved out of stone, we're just getting them smoothed up. We're going to throw some beds in there, get some doors put on, maybe a couple additional bits. We should be fine. We should be. Not too terribly concerned at the moment. Besides, double the population means double the work we can get done, right? Right. Won't be a problem at all. In fact, if you'll have a look out here towards the sea and our bridge, you can see it's coming right along. We have a whole slew of dwarves putting blocks in place, and we are creeping ever closer towards the opposite shore. We've just rolled over into spring, and as you can see, the ocean has thawed. There's no more ice or snow out here, which means we can't put any more supports underneath in place, but that's not a problem at all. We'll try to get a few done every year. And having looked back down underground, we have this platinum bell. Turns out we're kind of running out of platinum right now, so I figured now would be the time to disassemble the thing. Maybe we can reclaim some of the platinum that went into it. There's a substantial amount. I'm sure that's obvious. Now we've come up with a solution that should be quick and relatively safe, and it's just about in place. So we're just gonna get someone to come down here and pull this lever real quick, just like that. And stand back, dwarves. Oh boy, there it goes. Okay, we released the bell and it just went crashing down to the cavern below and just broke apart back into its component platinum pieces, which we can now use in other projects. That was actually shockingly effective. I did not think it would work so well. And for some reason, I didn't think we'd be able to reclaim all the platinum, but it is down here, and I'm really glad that none of those platinum bars getting thrown around injured any dwarves. That could have easily been the case, but it wasn't. We'll have to keep that method in mind for the future, I think. Anywho, dwarves, I think we are right on the path to greatness here in Idrath Kor Irolsazir, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. Now pick up the broken fragments of that bell and get back to work. We still have an awful lot to do. And with that, I think we're going to start talking about some behind-the-scenes things. If you're new to my videos, this is what I kind of try to do at the end of the episodes, just to kind of clarify some decisions that I've made, or maybe talk about game mechanics or weird things that I've seen during the episode. I kind of try to keep the video itself, the body of it, more like story-based, if I can, even though when you boil it down, it's just an idiot playing Dwarf Fortress. I just feel like it would kind of make things murky if I jumped into gameplay mechanic discussion like during the episodes a lot of the time. I don't know. Ooh, during these parts too, I also show off fan artwork, and if you'd like some displayed, just send it over to krugsmash@gmail.com, as well as maybe a title for the piece, or how you'd like your name to be displayed, and I will make sure to get it into the next episode. Today we have some art from the previous series I did, which was explained in this episode somewhat. Nokortarad, or Dead Body, is the name of the fortress. Anywho, yes, during this episode, we did see some dwarves from Nokortarad. I was kind of hoping that we'd see more dwarves that we were, like, more familiar with from that series that I did, but oh well. It is strange that we got so many dwarves that we were not familiar with. It seems like that fortress up there, Nokortarad, got pretty busy after I stopped playing in it, which does tend to happen sometimes when you retire fortresses in Dwarf Fortress. It's neat. Makes the world feel like it kind of continues on after you're done playing in a certain area. Though in reality, I'm sure it hasn't changed all too much. Just some more dwarves for the most part. Ooh, here's a fun thing. I started this fortress here kind of like as a plain old dwarven fortress, no big frips or frills or anything, just because I haven't really had a fair shake at the Steam release yet. I don't really play Dwarf Fortress outside of the recordings I do with these videos, and so I haven't actually played like a proper dwarven fortress yet, you know? That's why I started this one kind of basic. I said with that last series that I did that it might end up being kind of a short one. I don't think this one will be quite as short, though. I don't think. I mean, who's to say with Dwarf Fortress, really? I could get overrun by something coming up, you know, the next episode, for all I know. But as we stand, I could foresee it going on for a while. I'm having fun with it, and I got a lot of crazy ideas, too, as you've seen in the episode, the bridge and the bells and stuff. I think it would be cool to just, like, keep going and keep building and make a fort that's a bit extra, we'll say, you know, with like a lot going on, a lot of stupid stuff. We discussed building the fortress itself on top of the bridge when it's done, and I think that'd be a really neat idea. And I'm pretty glad that the ocean actually freezes too. That gives us a lot more options. Really eager to start making some underwater structures and stuff, you know? Could be cool, could be pretty darn cool. With my last series I did, we ended up with one prominent dwarf who kind of stole the show and led what was going on episode to episode. And that sort of stuff is fun, because like, when you're playing Dwarf Fortress, it's not usually very character-based, you know? Like, you'll have a person that does a couple interesting things, but generally speaking, you're not really focused on a single dwarf. And so it makes it kind of hard to do these bigger fortresses, like record them and put them into story form on YouTube, because like, what do you focus on, right? It makes it double hard too, like when the expedition leader of this fortress right here, Treasure Cavern, like he's just kind of unnotable, like... Essentially, when you create a new fortress, the dwarves that start your expedition, they pop out of thin air. And so whatever you start doing, like, you choose their motives for the most part. And when you get down to it, most of the time that in of itself isn't very heroic, right? It's not very compelling. Usually it's like a business venture or something, you know? Or just like a group of mad engineers or scientists or architects or something. And I'm not going to say I wove a particularly engaging backstory for Vabok, our expedition leader here, but it's something. And maybe he will grow on us more, because like, as it stands, Vabok isn't a very interesting character. He's just kind of self-serving and wants greatness. I feel, anyways. Who the hell knows? Maybe he'll do a bit more, or maybe that'll just be enough. When you get down to it, I'm, as a player, how do I phrase this? I'm not very interested in a story when it comes to Dwarf Fortress. If that makes any sense. I know I'm like showing stories to you people, but I don't really think of it that way most of the time. I kind of look at it like it's a historical documentary or something like that, you know? Like if someone dies, then they die. It's fine, you know? Or if like a story itself doesn't really seem all too compelling, then, you know, it's fine too, for the most part. But, you know, as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that it's also not true, because like, the stories are important, I feel, to the people involved, the dwarves and stuff. Like, we may not see it that way, but, you know, if you start a group of dwarves down a certain path and you as a player determine what their goal is, then you also have to roleplay the fact that the dwarves involved with the project are also highly involved with the idea, you know? So it means a lot more to them than it does to us as the player sometimes. Boy, I sound like a rambling fool right now, eh? I don't know. You start playing too much Dwarf Fortress sometimes and you start to go a bit crazy, I think. And I'm awful glad a lot of you new Steam players can see that. Welcome to the wonderful world of Dwarf Fortress. It really is something. Yeah, that was super rambly. I don't think it really had a great direction either, but, well, I sure hope it was something interesting to listen to. How about that fan art, though? It's good. It's really good stuff. Big fan. And super appreciative too. I'm appreciative of all the fan artists who send their stuff in. I appreciate all the voice actors I worked with this week. You can find more information about them in the description below. And also got to thank Ivan Dutch for some of the music in this episode, as well as Rudo, who did like the title card. A couple of really skilled and helpful fellows there. And of course, a big thanks to all my patrons too, without whom I could not do a single little bit of this. And if you're so inclined to join my Patreon, you can find more information about that in the description below. But of course, feel no pressure to do so at all. I just thank you for watching. Anywho, my bearded bastards, I guess that's going to be about it. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate it. And I certainly hope to see you next time here in Idrath Kor Irol Sazir, Treasure Cavern, the Northbridge. And until then, you bearded bastards.